Opposition lawmakers say President Jacob Zuma is a corrupt, broken man who's caused the South African economy to slow down. The criticism follows a chaotic scene this month inside the House of Parliament in Cape Town. During the State of the Nation address, police physically removed members of the Economic Freedom Fighters Party from the chamber after challenging President Zuma to answer corruption charges. CCTV correspondent Angelo Coppola has more now from Johannesburg. And Angelo, what are these corruption charges that the opposition wants President Zuma to address?
It really relates to Nkandla, the president's home in the KwaZulu-Natal Midlands. It was upgraded to the tune of around $23 million. And the country's public protector, should I say, found that the president had unduly benefited from the upgrade and recommended that the president actually pay back a portion of the costs back into state coffers. He's repeatedly said that he wasn't responsible for the upgrades, didn't request them, and didn't know that they were happening. Obviously, there have been several investigations since he had those modifications done to his home, and most of those investigations and commissions of inquiry were held by his own political party, the ANC. There was one non-partisan investigation, but once the opposition parties who were part of that group saw that the terms of reference were fairly narrow, they walked out. Needless to say, though, the findings of those investigations have all found in favor of the president. Anand?
Angelo, the opening of Parliament in South Africa is a very elegant affair. We know that. It's red carpet, it's formal dress, it's lots of brass bands. What prompted the Speaker of Parliament to call in security forces to remove members?
Well, we have to take a step back to see what happened late last year. It relates to the Public Protector's report and the recommendation that the president pay back some of the money that was spent on his renovations. The EFF, led by the ex-ANC Youth League leader Julius Malema, latched onto this report, and when the president spoke to Parliament late last year, the EFF disrupted proceedings then with calls to the president to pay back the money. Now, that became a clarion call, and leading up to the State of the Nation address 2 weeks ago, the EFF had said that they would be asking the president to answer the public protector's recommendations that he pay back some of that cash. So everybody knew that there was going to be some kind of a confrontation, and it happened. It wasn't within seconds of the president starting his opening address that the heckling started. What did transpire after that is a bit of a concern for many people in South Africa. The ANC speaker called the House to order, called the EFF to order, and when they refused to ask those four EFF members to leave the House, they didn't listen. And the Speaker then called in somebody. They were essentially dressed as waiters or ushers. They, in fact, were presidential protection detail guards and some soldiers, and they were carrying concealed weapons, escorted them out. This is the second time in 8 months, and only the second time since 1994 that there have been armed people in Parliament. So it doesn't augur well, Anand.
Now, as you say, you know, there was a concern in South Africa over what happened in Parliament, but in the days after that, how did ordinary South Africans respond to what happened?
Well, social media channels were alight with pro and against Zuma and the throwing out of those EFF and the walking out, in fact, of the DA members. It was generally split along party lines. The ANC card-carrying members were essentially defending the ANC and the president in terms of Nkandla and the forced removals, while the media, on the other hand, were also in uproar. Firstly, because of those armed removals, and secondly, and perhaps a little bit more ominously, just before the president started his State of the Nation address, the signal for cell phone reception inside the House was actually blocked. And the members of the media and the press gallery all jumped up and started chanting, "Bring back the signal." And the opposition parties picked up on this and insisted that before the president could actually address the House, that jamming signal be turned off. And lo and behold, within 5 minutes, signal was back on and people could start recording and sending out messages. Anand?
Thanks, Angelo. Angelo Coppola there reporting from Johannesburg.